Welcome back to the Public Speaking Podcast. Yet another episode. It is sunny outside. It is spring. It is lovely. My name is Lucas. I'm the amateur speaker and CEO of Headgain, the communication company. And together with me in the studio, I have my esteemed colleague, my favorite coach in the world, Mr. Alexander Gramniala.
That is me. I am one of the communication coaches, if not the only communication. Well, I'm not the only one, but I'm one of the communication coaches here at Headgain, helping people to grow from here to here to here. And for the ones who's listening, that means that I'm showing from the bottom all the way to the top. So you can become really good at what you do when you want to convey your message in any situation. All right. So today we have some cool things. This is another SPEAKERx edition. As for the ones who don't know this, but we have had a couple of weeks back, we have had the great honor of listening in to 10 speakers taking the stage, one stage, 10 speakers, and we would just had a blast. So we have invited one of these speakers to be our guest in this beautiful, wonderful podcast of ours. So when I first, and you can correct me, Lucas, if I'm wrong here, but the first time when I heard her thoughts about what she wanted to speak about, I went, aha. And every single time when I have this thought now, I always think about the next speaker. So onto this virtual studio, I want to welcome a woman who have really put my brain into every time I get to think about this, it goes, oh, aha. And I'm not going to say what it is because I'm going to allow her to share that by herself. But with that said, I want to welcome everybody, or no, I want to welcome you to everybody who's listening and watching this podcast, Caroline Forssblad.
Thank you.
Hello, Caroline.
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Very well, I think.
Very
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Are you also
yeah.
having a sunny day outside?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Not
well-
too far from you.
Now I know we're kind of sitting in the same area of Sweden. And we're like, it's
Yeah.
sunshine. So, everybody knows that if you're from Sweden, the only thing you want to ask and to have a conversation starting
Yep.
is always, how is the weather? But
Yes.
before we jump into who you are, what you do, what you have done, we have something just to get the audience to get to know you a little bit better. We have something called 10 tough thoughts. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to introduce 10 tough thoughts. And then you are going to say which one of the two words that I'm stating is the one you favor the most. Do you
Okay.
understand what's going to go down?
Yes, I understand.
Yes, it's going to be very rapid pace. You don't get 2 minutes to think about it. So just quick answers. All right. First thing that comes into your mind. All right. 10 tough thoughts starts in 3, 2, 1. Fast food or fine dining?
Fine dining.
Water or wine?
Wine.
What? Swimming or walking?
Walking.
Stay at home or travel?
Travel.
Car or motorcycle?
Car.
Off-grid or city?
City.
Red or blue?
Blue.
Online or face-to-face?
Face to face.
Bed or sofa?
Bed.
And final one, summer or winter?
Summer.
This has been 10 Tough Thoughts with your host, Alexander Granmer-Darling, and co-host, Lucas Rogistic, who didn't do anything as normal when it comes to 10 Tough Thoughts.
I have the
Good.
easiest job. I can just listen.
Wine
Just
or
listen.
water? That was the hardest one.
Yeah, exactly. One word.
Wine?
Life
Wine?
elixir, like
I'm
life
with you,
elixir.
Caroline. I very much enjoyed that answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fine
All right,
dining,
so-
wine.
Caroline, now the intriguing facts are out there. We have understood who you are, like on the
Yes.
depth. Not really, but let us all know, who are you? What do you do? Why are you one of the SPEAKERx's?
Yeah, the easy question: who are you? Well, I'm brave. That's why I'm kind of part of the SPEAKERx, and curious, and I like to develop myself in so many areas. And I think that's why I'm here. I like to know more things about how can I express myself better, how can I understand myself better, and that goes also inside my head. And background-wise, that's the kind of funny part, because I'm a cybersecurity expert in the beginning. So I've been working as a leader or an expert for the last 22 years. But I kind of, during the last half year, I kind of felt that, well, I think I had enough of the security talk, the topic security. So I also done a lot of inner development. So I've been kind of very close to the wall that we say here in Sweden.
Wow.
And I would say maybe 7 years ago, I had to just really take care of myself. I had to do something because I was questioning the life. Is this how life is supposed to be? And I started to meditate. I started to noticing how I felt and how what kind of things was running in my head. So I did the inner journey. And in that part, I developed even more curiosity towards personal development. So I also, in parallel, while being a cybersecurity expert, I became a hypnotherapist, a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, energy medicine therapist, and because it's so funny to understand why we act like the way we do as a human being, and going from is this how life's supposed to be to this, yeah, this is how life's supposed to be. It's a before and after. So half a year ago, or maybe many years ago, I decided that I want to do something to help people and myself, because I'm on a journey. It's a lifelong journey. It's a lifestyle to kind of feel well and be happy, I think. And I know a lot of people don't understand what it could be like. They're in this kind of wheel of not feeling well. So for 2 months now, I'm an entrepreneur. So I quit my job as a consultant, and I'm working with supporting women in one. I'm a multitasking entrepreneur. There's so many things I would like to do. So one thing is supporting women with the security role, because it's kind of a heavy role and it's a very man-dominated world. So supporting them in how they can feel more safe in their role, how they can be more better at communicating, and how they can be more effective, but also find the balance. So I have a masterclass for women in security, but it's kind of going into tech as well, because it's, and then for all women, of course. So that's kind of my vision. So it's called Rise and Lead. And then I love to be on stage. From maybe 25 years ago, 20 years ago, I had blackouts when I went on, when I was supposed to just have a presentation on a meeting. And now I just love it. So one thing is being a public speaker, and then talking to companies. And my big dream is to have my own show for women. I'm sorry, guys, but everybody's welcome.
Wow. Wow.
So at the moment, I've done a journey, and I'm kind of just following the heart and my inspiration. And that has been shown the last maybe 3 years that is a good advice. When what my heart is saying, it's usually where the inspirer is, and it seems like everything falling apart. No, not falling apart, but falling. You get the red carpet, not
falling into place.
Yes, falling into place. So when I take this tough decision to just quit the job and I do stuff, I get so inspired now, and I meet the right people, and it's kind of the red carpet. So I'm very going with the heart and intuitively.
You are brave. I mean, there are so many people that dare to think the things but never dare to do the things, right? To quit your job, like the security of everything, at least in many cases for many people.
Yeah.
And now you're stepping into the world of one of the best things that you can do as a professional, right? Publicly speaking.
Yes.
Every great public speaker have a signature talk. And I guess this is where SPEAKERx came into play. And this is where you really, both me and Lucas has more than once thought that the signature talk that you gave is all about. So can you share a little bit of the process of where did that thing come from? What is the thing that you spoke about? And also, how has the process been of really taking it from being a seed to a full loaf, as we say in Sweden? Sounds better in Swedish, från ax till limpa, for the ones who understands that. But can you please explain a little bit? Because when this is dropping, people will go like, aha, and then the word that you talk about.
I think when I know I actually have one moment when I realized that I'm onto something. But I didn't realize it was going to be the signature talk or even the start of a book at that time. I was out walking, and I'm still on the inner journey, you know. I will be there for all my life, and I'd been a lot of digging. I love to break patterns, negative patterns, limiting beliefs, everything that kind of stand in your way. I'm just okay. Sometimes it's really tiring, but when they pop up in my brain, and when I see other people, I would like to help them break limiting beliefs, or to rewire your brain, and also realize what are you, the thing you're having, you're thinking in your mind, is that really yours? We have so many generation traumas and behaviors, so. I've done the work, I've done the research, and I realized that nobody, it's kind of hard sometimes to do all this personal development. So I was out walking, and I remember my mind was like so judgmental. I was complaining about people moving too slow. They were dressing the wrong way. They were ugly clothes. It's like my mind just went on and on, all these judgmental thoughts, and I just stopped. I realized I was down the water here in Stockholm, and I just stopped, and it's like, interesting. What is going up in my head right now? What is actually happening right now? Why am I being so irritated on people walking just in front of me? I don't know them. They were just walking in front of me, and I thought, and interesting, I stopped there, interesting. And the word interesting was opening up for, is that really me? Am I being that a judgmental person? And the first thing that came up was, no, actually, first of all, it was like, I'm tired, I haven't slept well. And I was like, yeah, interesting. That, of course, kind of triggered me. If I'm not feeling well, I have stressful moment at the work that could trigger me, but I kept going. Interesting, but is the thoughts mine? Am I actually a person that judge people's clothing? And it's like, there's something opened up, and I saw this situation in front of my face, growing up in a society and with a generation as my parents, that where it was kind of okay to judge other people. I remember sitting in the sofa watching telly, and how can she wear that? He is fat, and how can they look like that? And it goes on and on and on. And when I talk to a lot of people in my age, they have the same experience. So I grew up in a generation with an older generation that it was okay to judge and people, like that was the natural thing to do. And you have a society that's also very judgmental. So I realized that, interesting, that is not me. So I've been carrying this. So it's now time for me to stop. So, and then I realized that if I stop every thought, I rewire, and I think, interesting, that's really nice how that person can wear that outfit. It may be not something I wouldn't wear, but they like it. It's really something that they dare to do. They dress what they want to dress with. So that opened up for a curiosity. And when I then, one of the things I really like to do, and I think we all have different skills. One of my skills is how can I simplify something with, and I've done that in security as well. How can I get someone to be more curious about something, and how can I make them see a new perspective? So that started the word interesting in my own personal development. And then I started to try it on friends. And they start to use it as well. And I just started to write a book. It's not finished yet, but I started to write a book. But I wrote another book instead. So it's been kind of just laying around, and then you showed up with SPEAKERx. And I just, yes, this is the time. It's the time for my interesting theory. How to break patterns with curiosity. And that's kind of how it... So it's from my own experience, testing it with other people, and then it's more fun to talk than write.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whenever it goes somewhere, I had this little version of Caroline popping in my mind, like, I drive home yesterday, or drove to an event yesterday. There was a bus driver almost killed me on my motorcycle, and I drove up next to him, and like, okay, and you popped up as like, interesting. I wonder why he just cut the line and cut across the line, the road. But then we're like, oh, okay. Well, screw it. I just kept on going, because otherwise, normally it would be a beautiful finger, and then I would do something and shout something, and then I would drive off being angry. But instead, it was really like, interesting. Yeah, right. And it kept on going. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way of just stopping your thoughts and then looking at it from an internal perspective, because usually you're getting triggered by someone else. It's mostly not about them. It's more about us.
I love this interesting theory, Caroline. And I was sitting and thinking while you were speaking, because you said you tested this on friends. Has it become as a provocation any time when you're testing it on friends, where they're thinking something, or you're noticing that they are judging, and you're like, interesting. Why are you saying that? Has this ever led to a problem for you?
Usually I don't use it for people that I know, is, as I call, fully asleep.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But I think that's the funny part of being a computer engineer and a cybersecurity specialist, and then combining it with personal development.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to the science guys at work, the men, when I say something that's more maybe in depth, maybe more, I talk about hypnotherapy or spirituality, it's like they are kind of interested. They might not agree, but they become curious, because they see me as very down to earth. And then I have these thoughts about the subconscious and how to rewire your brain. But the brain, we know, is kind of science. We already know that. But so no, usually it's more when I ask them to think about where do you think this come from. It might not. They may not understand it immediately. I kind of just help them. Maybe your parents, maybe society, and they're like, yeah. So it's more like, oh yeah, that's true, that's right. So that's, I think, when you think about what's your purpose in life, I think I like to plant seeds. Because I've been trying to do a hypnotherapy work, and I try to be like a coach. I think it takes too long time, and I sit too long with one person. I like to plant the seeds, and then they can go on therapy with someone else. So I give them the methods, the insights, and then when they want to go deeper and need to have kind of one-to-one coaching, I have so many good coaches that like to do that.
That's smart, though. So you evoke the thought, you make them realize there's a problem.
Yeah.
In marketing, you take them from aware to problem aware, like unaware to aware. And then you just skip the rest of the steps and just send them off so they can do.
Yeah, I think also what I do in the masterclass with these women, that we talk for 3 hours about one topic, and one thing is interesting theory and breaking limiting beliefs. It's 3 hours and they go, wow. But if they want to kind of, I would like to test hypnotherapy, I would guide them to someone else. But I get them to kind of waken up and get curious. We're back to curious.
Yeah. I love that.
Smart.
I love that.
Very smart.
It's also very, speaking of you as you come from a manager background. You've done that for a lot of years. So you know that maybe you don't want to be at that last delivery step. You want to guide the idea and the insight and then hand it over. Is that kind of...
Yeah, I think I realized that during all my years that I'm a good leader. I don't like the manager work with all the administration, the discussing of salary and the performance review every year. I like to lead them towards a very often short target. It's like, you're going to go there and bye-bye. Let me know if you want some more help. I don't know what's the English word of förvaltning. Maintenance, no?
Maintenance, probably. The ongoing operations.
Yeah.
Never ending.
That's why I think I love the public speaking and being an inspirational speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can see the enlightenment is like, yeah, I get it now. And then I hope someone else, some will kind of, water the seed that I'm planting and some don't. But at least I did my work.
Very good. Thank you. I'm super curious. So we understand the interesting theory and the background and some of the provocation and things that you've gone through during this period. So going into the process of, because you had this idea, but you also had all of the experience, you had all of the stories, the nuggets, the things that you wanted to create. You went from that state to standing on a stage and delivering a 10-minute talk. Can you take us through some of that process, how that was like for you, and maybe what was challenging to do that?
I'm very happy that I got support from you, because I think that I started just to rumbling off and just writing down everything I wanted to tell about the theory. And that was probably several hours of a talk. But then I think you challenged me. It's like, what is the most important thing, and what do I want them to feel, and the structure of the background, the topic, and the summary. And I think that how I wanted them to feel, and what exactly would make them feel that way, and question every word. So I went really from having all the examples to what is the examples that will make people feel recognition or with the heart and so on. So it was like squeezing it down, and also what do they need to know about? I could talk a lot about the brain. We know it's been a lot of science about how the brain works. How can I get like in 2 lines to tell that this is not woohoo, this I'm talking about, is actually how the brain works. So that was the really hard part, to get it to be concrete and to deliver what I think the listeners should feel.
In that journey for you, what if you're looking back to it, what are you most proud of yourself for doing?
It requires a lot of patience to do this. So, but I also have realized, since I've also written a book, that if I'm really into something, I have the patience. So sitting with this talk, going through everything over and over and over and over and over again. And I think also I was really challenged of talking about the speech to someone else before it was done. I think I don't know, that's something with me that I really like to, I'm used to work on my own material until I stand on stage. So I'm really proud of myself, because I just did something I'm not used to, and it's kind of scary to have this. This is the talk. This is what I'm going to talk about, and I stepped up on the Zoom meeting in front of you guys and just read it through without it wasn't finished. So I'm once again the courage to do that, and the dedication. I love this, that it's 6 weeks. Have you said it's 1 year? It's too much of time. So dedication, and patience and challenging myself and all the limiting beliefs I have in Zoom meetings and standing and talking about something that's not ready.
So for Caroline Forssblad, what does the future hold with now having your signature talk? Is there expansion? What does your career look like? What is your aim? What is your goal? Where do you want to stand? What do you want to do when you grow up?
When I grow up, I would really like to be an international public speaker. The interesting theory, the 10 minutes it's just the 10 minutes. There's workshops and there's longer keynotes. So one big part of my career is being on the stages, being on helping companies. We can also use the interesting theory how to support companies. You know, there's limiting beliefs and truths to break in companies as well. So you can use it in so many areas. And once again, so yes, my career is on the stage, and I have a really big dream of talking about the interesting theory as a funny and playful technique. Because I would like people to start questioning what's going on here, and also all the generation stuff we're carrying around. We think we are like this, but when we start to kind of opening the lid, there's so many things we are not. That was really good when you were little or during part of the time, but it's kind of, you get so much freer when you're just you and not carrying all this stuff. So big stages. I really love the Rise and Lead concept I'm doing with the women and supporting women in more tougher roles to be more brave. And I also like to I have a lot of presentation techniques in my masterclass as well, of course. So I have big dreams. I have big dreams.
That's great. Interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Again, it does this to my head. It doesn't matter what it's like.
It's so funny. During those 6 weeks, I can't remember how many times we paused, Alex, and just
yeah,
went,
I know.
interesting. What do you?
Interesting. Yeah. Why did we think about it like this? Yeah, well, that's interesting. When then it kind of kept on going. All right.
Yeah.
What is so? A little bit backtracking to where you come from. You must have witnessed both highs and lows when it comes to deliveries, and now you've gone through the process and you know how it is to stand on a stage and know exactly how to engage the people that you in the way that you're supposed to do and that everybody's supposed to do. What would be your top tip advice if you see people out there now that are struggling with either their keynote or they're struggling with their presentations at work, wherever it is? What would be the top tip of Caroline going, okay, with what you have learned and what you have gone through and what you have experienced over either both SPEAKERx, but also in hindsight and history of working in cybersecurity?
I've been talking lately about love languages when I done a lot of talks when it comes to security. And I think you need to understand what love language is the person you're going to talk to. What is their love language? And when I play around with that in my own presentations, I can say my love language is security. What's yours? Because in security, you always talk to someone else. And if you're using words and communicating like you do with like the security guy next to you, and you use that on the other one, they will not understand you. So first of all, who are you talking to? And that sounds really easy, and it should be. We don't do that as much. No.
True.
We communicate the things we would like to say.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's the love language of the people you're talking to? And what do you want them to feel?
Oh.
So the content is important, really important. And really need to know who are you talking to and how do you want them to feel? And then the gestures. I think I give, when I talk to, I give one simple tip to a person just to take one step ahead before you start to talk. So just how to prepare for your talks, like the physical things with building this state. So people walk just up and they're very nervous, but they can do so many things to prepare. So, and of course, I can go on and on and on, but I think that
I hear that, but I love this. What is the love language of the person you're speaking to? I think I have a book at home about love languages, but more specifically for relationships, right?
Yes.
That's usually where we talk about it.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense. Is it? I won't go into all of the different languages. I like the safety one. It was very clear. Thank you, Caroline. We usually ask our guests if there's someone else that they would love to see or hear in the podcast. Was there something that you had as an idea for a future guest coming into the public speaking podcast and for you to get more value out of? What would that be?
I think it would be really interesting because one of the toughest parts, it would be interesting. One of the toughest part is how do you get humor into your talk? You should interview a comedian.
Comedian it is. Yes.
If you could interview Johan Glans, I would definitely.
Johan Glans. For the ones who's international, Johan Glans is a very, very funny, very humble Swedish stand-up comedian who is really. He had, I think in the beginning, he had one of those things that he never cursed on stage. He was like going through, and it was such a beautiful nuance of how to make people laugh. And he's also from the area from where I'm from, down in Scania.
That kind of sub Swedish language type that is very hard to understand.
Yeah.
Oh, the Scanian? Yes. If you could see what I'm thinking right now, it would be amazing, Lucas. All right. But the thing is, now people are going, okay, interesting woman. We want to connect with her. Where do we find you? Where do you want people to come in, join your, the interesting theory and everything that you do? Where do they find you?
LinkedIn is my main platform, and then I have a website. Maybe you can give the information, Caroline Forssblad.se, but I think you maybe can.
Yeah. We'll put the link in the description. No worries.
Everything will come.
In understanding more about the interesting theory, connecting with Caroline, go into the description. You click onto LinkedIn mainly and have a conversation, or find Caroline's website. Caroline, it's been wonderful to have this discussion, understanding more and listening to the interesting theory once again. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the podcast today. Thank you for showing up. It's been lovely.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Arrivederci, everybody. Till next time, do not forget, speaking, well, it's just a skill. It's not a talent. That's what David J.P. Phillips says, and I stand behind him and done for the last 13 years. Arrivederci tutti. Catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.